guys, it's Rebecca. So today I'm going to be talking about all my anticipated reads for 2024. I am going to be so excited to actually get these books whenever they come out. I have just decided to put together a list of some of the books that sound really interesting to me. I did have to do some research into this because I'm not the best at actually knowing what's coming out. So I decided to just watch a lot of videos, read some blog posts and find out what's actually coming out in 2024. I found it hard to actually find ones that I was genuinely interested in. I mean, there was a lot of ones that I probably would get, especially if I heard that they had good reviews, but there wasn't actually that many in other people's videos and stuff that I actually felt like that is actually something that I would genuinely be looking forward to. So I decided to actually put together a list, like do as much research as I could and put together a list of books that I would genuinely be excited for. And yeah, I had to find that in loads of different places, but I think hopefully this list will be accurate to actually what I would genuinely be looking forward to. So the first book that I'm going to be really looking forward to is Magnolia Parks Into the Dark by Jessa Hastings. So the expected publication for this one is February 24th. I haven't actually read all 4 books, so this is the 5th book, but I haven't read all 4 books, but I know that I'm going to 100% have read the next 2 by the time this 5th book comes out. I've currently read Magnolia Parks and then Daisy Hates, but there's another Magnolia Parks and another Daisy Hates book to go before I can get on to Into the Dark, but I know that I'm definitely going to read those 2 books before, and I know I'm going to love them, so I'm 100% going to be really excited for this, and I'm going to be reading all the books in preparation for the exact time that this one comes out. So the next book that I am going to be really excited for is a novel love story by Ashley Poston. So the expected publication for this one is June 25th. I've just realised as well that I haven't done these books in like a particular order. I've just written out all of the books and I'll just say the publication dates, but I realise I haven't actually done them in like chronological order of like when they'll be coming out, but I'll tell you the dates anyway. So essentially this one is about a girl who falls in love with a fictional character. She finds herself literally in a book after a car accident. So I'm really excited to read this one. Ashley Poston writes really interesting romances and she usually uses settings that are kind of like a bit different. So this one is obviously falling in love with a fictional character and she's literally in a fictional town. So I did enjoy Dead Romantics by her and I will want to just continue on. Dead Romantics wasn't my favourite thing in the world, but I did enjoy it and I do really want to read more by her to see maybe if I'll enjoy this one a bit more than the Dead Romantics. So the next one that I'm really excited for is An Education in Malice by S.T. Gibson, and this one is released on February 13th. So essentially what appealed to me about this one is that it's described as a dark academia book, and I really want to read more dark academia book after I loved The Secret History, and I've always been like a fan of that in film, so I really want to read more dark academia books. So as soon as I heard that, I was really interested and wanted to know more about this one, and it's also by the author of A Diary of Blood. I have been really wanting to read that as well and I have heard really good things about that, so that also intrigued me about this. So I'll just read out the synopsis because I think that might be the best way to describe this one. So deep in the forgotten hills of Massachusetts stands St. Perpetua's College. Isolated and ancient, it is not a place for timid girls. Here, secrets are currency, ambition is lifeblood, and strange ceremonies welcome students into the fold. On her first day of class, Laura Sheridan is thrust into an intense academic rivalry with the beautiful and enigmatic Carmilla. Together, they are drawn into the confidence of their demanding poetry professor, who holds her own dark obsession with Carmilla. But as their rivalry blossoms into something far more delicious, Laura must confront her own strange hungers. Tangled in a sinister game of politics, bloodthirsty professors and dark magic, Laura and Carmilla must decide how much they are willing to sacrifice in the ruthless pursuit of knowledge. It just sounds really interesting, so I'm really excited to read that one. So the next book that I'm really excited to read is 4 Aids and a Funeral, and the expected publication date for this is January 1st. I really enjoyed Honey and Issue's Guide to Fake Dating, and I've been wanting to read more by Adiba Yagudar ever since. I know this one is co-written, but I will be excited to read this just because it is by her, and I know that her books are always really fun, so I'm just intrigued by this one. So essentially this one is about 2 ex-best friends trying to save an Islamic centre. I know that her books are always like very fast-paced and enjoyable. I think it is a love story, so it'll be interesting. Maybe there'll be some enemies to lovers or enemies to best friends, I don't know, but I am really intrigued by that. I'll definitely be trying to get this one in January. So the next book that I am really excited for is The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo, and this one will be released on the 9th of April. So I really loved Six of Crows. I read it kind of at the time whenever it was coming out, and I absolutely loved it. And I also love Shadow and Bone. I love all of those books. I still haven't got around to reading Ninth House, but it is something that I have been really wanting to do. It does still mean that I will be wanting to read everything by Leigh Bardugo that does come out, especially because this one does sound so good. Essentially, it is a historical fantasy fiction, and it is set during the Spanish Golden Age. Because it is fantasy, there's also magic involved, so I am excited to see what Leigh Bardugo does with like a historical fantasy. It'll just be really interesting, and I absolutely can't wait to read this one. So the next one that I am really excited for is Memory Pieces by Lisa Coe, and this one is released on the 19th of March. I have never read anything by this author before, and I read the description and I just thought it sounded so interesting. And essentially this one is what I really hoped A Little Life was going to be. I didn't really enjoy A Little Life that much for various reasons, but I essentially thought it was a book that followed a group of best friends all the way through their lives, and it was definitely like missold to me. I guess there's a small portion of that in that book, but I really like that. I really like to see friends grow up together and to see what happens with their lives. So it sounds like this one is actually closer to what I was hoping to get out of A Little Life. So it follows 3 teenagers throughout their lives, and we get to see their careers, their friendships, and how that evolves. And I just really want to read it. I just think it sounds really interesting as well. It starts out in the 80s and it develops from there, and it just sounds so good, and I absolutely can't wait to read this one. So the next one that I am really excited for is The Dead Cattail Assassins, and this one is expected on the 23rd of April. So essentially I think this one is a fantasy about dead assassins, and ever since I read Throne of Glass I just decided that I really like to read about assassins. As soon as I knew it was about assassins, that was like pretty much that had me sold, and I'll probably not look into it much more, but now I just really want to read it because it's a fantasy about assassins, and like that'll just pretty much intrigue me. And I think there's maybe heists involved, and it just sounds like my exact kind of thing. I just find it really exciting, and I just love to read about assassins, so I'm really excited for that one. So the next one that I am really anticipating is You Like It Darker by Stephen King, and this one comes out on the 21st of May. So I recently read Misery by Stephen King, and I did enjoy it, but I gave it like 3 stars. I think I talked about in one of my last videos, I explained how I felt about it, so I'll link that above whichever video that's in. But I do really want to read more by Stephen King, and whenever I found that he had a new short story collection coming out, it just made me want to get this, because I've been really wanting to read more short stories because I want to start practicing writing short stories. I really want to start writing more in general, and I think maybe short stories will be a good way to start, but I never really read them, so I find it hard to imagine what the length and kind of how much depth goes into a short story. And I just want to read more short stories by really talented authors, basically, to know exactly how a short story is like meant to be written. Considering Stephen King's coming out with this new short story collection as well, I want to read more by him, and as well I've just been wanting to read short stories. I think that was just like the perfect combination. So whenever I heard about that, I just thought I'll definitely be getting this whenever it comes out, and I can actually get to read bit more from Stephen King and see how he writes short stories, because I'd imagine he'd be a really good short storyteller. Okay, so the next book sounds absolutely amazing, and I absolutely can't wait to read this one. I'll probably actually pre-order this one just because it sounds so good, and that is I Was a Teenage Slasher by Stephen Graham Jones, and this one comes out on the 16th of July. During the summer I absolutely searched everywhere for a slasher novel. I really want to read some slasher novels, and I can't really find any anywhere that aren't like YA kind of cringy slashers. Like I really wanted to find some genuine slasher novels. So whenever I came across this one, I just thought, you know what, I'm gonna have to get this, and it was just weird because it's meant to be like a summer slasher, and I was just like, that's so annoying, because I literally did like summer slasher reading sprints, and you know, like the whole like summer slasher thing was like popular on TikTok and everything. I just really wanted to read some slasher books, but I couldn't find any. It's actually the reason why I read Misery, but I couldn't find any anywhere, so I've actually found this one and I am so excited to read it. I'll just read out what it says on the plot on, I'm just on Amazon, so I'll just read this out. So 1989, a small West Texas town driven by oil and cotton, and a place where everyone knows everyone else's business. So it goes for Tolly Driver, a good kid with more potential than application, 17 and about to be cursed to kill for revenge. Here Stephen Graham Jones explores the Texas he grew up in, the unfairness of being on the outside, through the slasher horror he lives, but from the perspective of a killer, Tolly, writing his own autobiography. Find yourself rooting for a killer in this summer teen movie of a novel gone full blood-curdling tragic. That just sounds so good. So I think it's in the perspective of the killer, and if this is not good, I'm going to be raging. Like, I'm going to be actually so disappointed, because that just sounds so good. So I really hope he does that well. I'll definitely be trying to get this one. I'll actually probably be pre-ordering. I think I already said that, but I'll probably be pre-ordering because it just sounds so good. So that's all of my anticipated reads. I am so excited. I've said that a million times, but I'm so excited for all of these, and I'm just excited for 2024 and all of the reading that is going to happen, and hopefully all of these will live up to my expectations, but I'll try to not get my hopes up too high, even though I am really excited for all of them. But that's it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed. Let me know what books you are excited to read in 2024 and what books you're anticipating. Also let me know if you've made an anticipated reads video, because I'll definitely be watching it. But thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, then I would really appreciate it if you could like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.